All right, guys, we're back. This is the grass flats east of Dunkin's house. This was about 3-4 years ago. I think it was in the month of May. We're at our usual spot here, Tomei Park, down there at Roy City. Guys casting for bait there, trying to catch him some mullet, I guess. I don't know if he's got a boat or not, or if he's just fishing from the shore. I guess that's his buddy right there on the other side of the dock. You can catch them there. Just got to watch along that edge there. There's rocks. Watch the pilings too and all that stuff. If you go back the other way and cast in that grass edge, you can catch shrimp there. It's usually a good spot all up and down that grassy edge for shrimp with a cast net. Except I wouldn't be using one as big as they're using. I'd only use like a 4-footer because you're casting on the edge. Looks like they got like a 6-footer there. One thing you know that's interesting here that you don't see, talking about cast nets, like you see out in Florida and on the East Coast there, where they got those big old 10 and 12-foot cast nets, man, that they cast. That's crazy. You know, that's a big old net. And then they got two types of it. They got one with the bigger triangle squares for mullet, and then they got one for the smaller ones for what they call what do they call those fish? I forget what they call them, but they're by the tons that they have out there. Bait fish that they catch with the smaller hole net. And the bigger one usually has chain mesh on it because you don't want it to sink as fast. And the smaller one has weights just like ours does. But you don't really see anybody down here casting those big old nets like that. The biggest you usually see is about 6 foot. But anyway, so we're heading out. So here we are in the Arroyo. We put in, this is around 10 o'clock in the morning. We're heading out. We want to catch the major bite. And usually how I make the decision where I'm going to go, I don't really know where I'm going to go until after I put in the water. And then as I'm riding out down the Arroyo, then that's where I'll decide. Because I like to get the smell. I like to see how high the water is. I like to see if there's any birds already flying around and moving. If there's bait fish moving. And then that'll make a determination. So on this morning, instead of going to my usual spot, like I said, I'm a creature of habit. I always go, you see Bird Island there right off of the port side bow of the boat. I usually go right out there and right behind there and fish the grass flats behind Bird Island. But on this morning, we're going to go south. We're going to take the Y, we're going to go south, and we're going to head to 3 Islands. And we're going to go to the first house that is on the left-hand side, heading south of the Arroyo, which is going to be Dunkin's old fishing cabin. I know it is Dunkin's house. I think they sold it a few years ago. I don't know who owns it now, but I always know that's what I've always known it as. And if you look on any fishing map, it's listed as Dunkin's house. So that's where we're going. We're going to go down to Dunkin's house, and we're going to go out to the grass flats behind his house, and we're going to fish the grass flats. And this is where we're at. We're in the grass flats now, behind Dunkin's house. How beautiful it is. Beautiful morning. The sun does peek through. It never becomes completely sunny. Just partly cloudy, sunny. You know, a lot of cloud cover rolling in, rolling out. Sun peeks through here and there, and then cloud cover rolls in, which was kind of odd for being in May. You know what I mean? But it's just you know, one of those times. You make it work. And like I say, we're going for the major bite. I think the major bite was around 11 o'clock that morning, 11:30. Might have been 12. So I usually like to get out there 2 hours before and set up. And we're gonna pick our spot. We're gonna line up with Dunkin's house, and then we're gonna start drift fishing. So I'm angling it. We're gonna make the turn, and then we're gonna come to a halt here. And the water's pretty clear back there. It turns to that trout green color water a little bit on, but I'm a little bit past his house because I want to drift through and past his house. So I'm a little bit south of his house right here, and the water's crystal clear there. His house is going to be on the starboard side of my boat once we set the drift anchor out and the boat turns. The wind that day was blowing about 30 miles an hour. Just average South Texas windy day down here in the valley and out on the lower Laguna Madre. Just your average day where it's blowing out of the south 30 miles an hour. So see how the boat's already rocking? Wind was blowing pretty good. Cassie getting on her game, getting ready, getting her game face on, so she can start barking them reds up. I think the first thing she barks up is a nice trout, if I remember right, but I don't get them in the boat. So this is a perfect example here. One thing about trout, especially the bigger trout, you don't want them to flash on top of the water. I mean, it's cool and all because it's exciting to see them flash. But you're better off keeping your pole low and keeping them under the water and not letting them come up and flash. Because when they flash, they can spit their hook back at you and spit it out of their mouth and get away. Because I guess it has to do with the trout having their mouth straight attached to their head, meaning it's level right there. Because whereas if you look at a redfish, you look at a black drum, you look at a sheephead, the mouth is below the head. So they got to come up and over to get that bait. A trout tacks it straight on, just like a bass. I mean, straight on, hits it straight on. You know what I mean? So those types of predator fish, when you hook them, especially the bigger ones, you really don't want them to be flashing because they're going to get off before you can get them into the boat. And here's going to be a perfect example right here of how that happens. This is about a 23-inch speckled trout here that I catch. Or I almost catch because he falls right off right before I get him right there in the boat. So here we go. Boom. Look. Oh, I missed it, but look, I'm going to throw it back out there and he's going to hit it. And we're fishing live shrimp on that popper style with the weights in it, but it's not my back bay thunder that I like to use because, like I told you in the video before, they were out of them. So I'm using that bomber style popping cork. It's the cable style, which I don't really like because it has too much play in it. I like the stiff wire style where that back bay thunder is when I'm fishing live shrimp and popping a cork. But this one works okay, man. But I do lose fish on it. And here's a perfect example right here. I'm going to lose this 23-inch, he's like 23, 24 trout. I don't even get him in the boat. I get him right up to the edge and he flicks off. And I think that was the biggest trout of the day in this video. After that, it's just small trout, rat reds, and then some keeper reds and one big red there at the end. I catch a real big, nice one. 26-inch red. Cassie knows something's up. Look at that. So I got to reel in the slack, get the slack in, pop it, reel the slack in. And then when you start to take it, you just want to make sure all the slack's out of your line before you set the hook. There he goes. Boom. Nice trout. But I don't capitalize because I lose him. I let him flash. And he spits the hook right out at me. Right here, right at the edge of the boat. Look at this. Boom. Gone. That fast. So that right there, guys, is a perfect example what not to do. I should have kept it down, kept him in the water, got the dip net. Trying to muscle him in and make something happen. And usually it doesn't go the way you want it to go when you try to do that. I'm just like any other fisherman too, man. I make mistakes too, man. But yes, trout, bigger trout and stuff like that, you don't want them flashing because just the way the position of their mouth, that it's straight ahead, they can spit that hook right back at you and get off. Not so with a redfish, and not so with a drum or a sheephead, because their mouth is below their head. It's on the bottom side. So just a little FYI, man. You know, we all live and we all learn, man. Yeah. But he was too big anyway, because the regulations were you couldn't keep anything that big anyway. So he's gonna get let go anyway. So, you know, I don't know what the regulations are now in 2025. I haven't been following it, but when this one was 3 years ago, I think this was like 4 years ago. It was after that freeze, and they had adjusted the size limits. It was 17 to 23, I think, was what it was. And he was about 23, 24. So he's a good size little trout. Nice, decent trout. So I think I catch a pin perch here. This is what Cassie barks up. One of those pin perches. You know, you can eat those guys. When I fish back there, that's one thing about fishing behind Green Island and Dunkin's house. There's tons of pin perch in that water, man. Fishing live bait. I mean, tons of them, like you wouldn't believe. More so than, you know, I mean, you catch a lot of them down at the island too, but I mean, more so out there in those grass flats. It's just kind of weird that there's just in that one area, there's a bunch of them there. Because I fish all those grass flats out there. And in that area, that's where I always catch the most pin perch at. But I guess they're edible. I mean, it's just that you don't get much off them, man. If you try to flay them out, you got to catch a ton of them, man. I usually use them for bait. Like that size there, if I was fishing at night, I would have kept that one and used it for cut bait. And that'd be good for big trout and big reds. But popping the cork, you want it a little smaller than your index finger size pin perch. That's perfect. You know, and those catch usually big trout and big reds with those too, man. On those. So I'm just talking about that trout I lost. And, you know, so we're going to get back at it here. Let's see. I want to say this one here is the first keeper red. He's 2021 we catch here, if I remember right, in this. As you can see, it's a cloudy day still. Sun still hadn't come out. Winds blowing 30 miles an hour. And here we go, baby. Nice keeper redfish right here. Perfect size to keep, 2021. As he barked up a nice little red right here. Beautiful red too. You guys will see it when I put it up to the camera. And you can see that's Dunkin's house straight off the bow. It's right behind me. We're right behind Dunkin's house there. Right in line with Dunkin's house. Drift fishing the grass flats east of Dunkin's house. And the islands, Spoilbank Islands that you see off to the port side, left side there, that's 3 islands back there. And then the one that's directly in front of the boat, that's Caballo Island. That's across the channel. Cassie did a good job there. Look at that. Barking it up. Nice little redfish. Little Chica doing her job. Cassie loves to fish. Alright, let me tell you. She always looked forward to going out on the boat. That's her favorite time out there. Out there riding on the boat and catching fish. Catching redfish. Chasing them in the flats. Look at her. Going after that redfish, boy. She wants it. She's hungry for some redfish. So that one we do keep. We harvest. And we ate him that night. So Cassie did eat well that night. She ate redfish that night. Always put your hook back in your pole so you don't get hooked. You always got to watch that. So always secure it. Secure it to your pole. So we'll measure him out. If I remember right, he's 20, 21, I think, on this one, if I recall. But I've been fishing this area for a long time, many, many years. Over 30 years, easy. 30 years, you know, fishing it. That beautiful little red. Look at that bronze. Beautiful bronze color. Been out there in the flats for a while to get that color. Yes. Nice, healthy. Perfect eating size. Easy to fillet. The fillets are nice and crisp. Taste really good. Really good. But like I said, grass flats there. When my old Dargle, I used to catch, I used to go out there at night because, you know, I worked in landscaping and nursery industry for many years. And I was always out in the sun, you know. So when I go fishing, I go late in the afternoon when the sun's going down, and I'd fish the overnight, and then I'd fish a little bit in the morning till about 10 o'clock, and then I'd come back in. So it'd be like an overnight and then fish a little bit in the morning. And my favorite one, some of my favorite spots are right here behind Dunkin's house at night, behind 3 Islands at night. Excellent places to anchor down and to sit and wait for the reds to come across on the flats at night. And you usually catch some nice trout out there too at night also. They're usually over 20 inches easy. You don't catch as many, but what you do catch is a good quality fish, you know. And you can pick up and move, and I've done that a few times too. In the middle of the night, if the bite slows down, you can pick up and go somewhere else and anchor out. I usually, like when I would fish out, most of the time I wouldn't move because I usually did pretty good right in that one spot. But then there were some times when we only caught maybe 1, maybe 2, so we needed to pick up and move. And I'd pick up and move, and we'd try 2 or 3 spots in a night if the fishing was slow. And once I get the boat back in the water, we'll do some night fishing and get some night fishing videos going, drift fishing out there on the grass flats. So it's a little ballyhoo here. Well, not little, but that's about the biggest they get. They may get a little bit bigger than that, but those guys make really good big trout bait, redfish bait. Really good. He's a little bit too big. I mean, I would probably use that one for cut bait if I was fishing at night on the bottom. But since we're drift fishing and we're popping the cork, he's going to go back in the water. We don't need him. You got to watch. They got razor sharp teeth just like a regular alligator gar, because I guess they're in the same family. But these just don't get that big. It's about the biggest they get right there. Maybe a little bigger than that. But there he goes. And I've caught, what was another strange one? So that's a ballyhoo. I've caught inshore lizardfish. I don't know if you guys ever caught any inshore lizardfish. And I've caught them there behind Dunkin's house and Green Island. And I've caught them also out in Rattlesnake Bay. But they're out there too. It's very rare that they'll hit on live shrimp. But they do. Every now and then you'll catch one. You'll catch an inshore lizardfish out there. And they got razor sharp teeth too. So here we go. I think this one is, I want to say, a rat red that we catch here. A beautiful little rat red. Let's see how it plays out. But I think that's what happened here in this cast. And I caught more of those. I just didn't put them in the video. You know, I edited them all out. But I caught a lot of those that day out there. A lot of little rat reds popping the cork. And like I tell you guys, it doesn't dismay me. It just makes me, it makes me feel good that I catch those, because that's showing me we got a healthy population in the bay of redfish. That's another generation that's going to be coming up in a couple of years' time. That'll be a nice fish to catch. So that just shows that the fish are propagating and the redfish population is strong. And plus it hones your fishing skills too when you're catching them. You know, that's why they call it fishing. So here we go. It should be right here somewhere. Reel in the slack, pop it a couple of times, reel in the slack, and then boom, he takes it. There he is. I think he's only like 10, 12 inches. I think 12 inches, that's all he is. If even that, maybe 13. But look at him. When I get him up to the camera, he's beautiful. Beautiful. Healthy redfish. In a couple of more years, that guy would be a nice fish to catch. Now he's just barking those redfish up. So you can see we're already in that trout green water. That's usually good places for speckled trout and colored water like that. But I think on that day I only caught two. One, that bigger one that got off, and then one that wasn't a keeper that was undersized, and the rest of it was redfish that day. So that just goes to show you, even though I'm in trout green water, look, what are we catching? Redfish. There's redfish everywhere. That's all I'm trying to say. There's redfish all over the lower Laguna Madre. Look at that beautiful fish. Beautiful little red. Look at that. Nice, healthy. Beautiful. Out there feeding. So he can grow bigger. Let Cassie give him a lick and we'll put him back in the water. Let him go. So he can grow bigger. Alright, so I think this next one is the 26-inch red. I think I cast a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, and then that's when I hook him. And what's a shame about this one, I had to harvest this one because I couldn't get the hook out of him. He swallowed it right down in the center of his throat, and I couldn't get it out of there. So I had to keep this redfish. And I used, like I say, I usually don't keep them that big. This one was 26 that I catch here next. And I usually let those go because of the breeders. And it's just a shame. Right here, baby. But he fights. Look at this. He puts up a fight. He tries to go into the boat like 2 or 3 times. And I keep him out from under the boat. Oh no, this one isn't it. This is the baby speck. So I take that back, guys. Sorry, I'm already jumping the gun. This is a little 14-inch speckled trout. I forgot I caught this one. Trying to keep Cassie off him because Cassie doesn't know anything about fishing regulations, size limits, and all that. All she knows is speckled trout tastes good and it feels real good in her little tummy. She doesn't know we can only keep certain sizes. So I got to keep her at bay on that. And this one falls short. I think it's like 14 inches. But it's a beautiful speck. It's already getting that brass color on it, real nice. A lot of nice, beautiful speck pattern on it. You'll see here when I put him up to the camera. It looked like something tried to get him on his tail, so I guess at one time a bigger fish was trying to eat him and tore up his tail a little bit, but other than that he's in pretty good condition. Nice little speck. Yeah, he's got that brassy color. Beautiful. Let's see how something try to get him on his tail there. Let that guy go. Put him back in. And let him get bigger. So I'm hoping that, you know, did you see that red take off right there? She dart right off. Nice little red right there. So I'm hoping that we'll get the population back up on speckled trout. You know, a lot of people don't like that you can only keep 3. I mean, it's good to try to get the population back up, because if we can get it as much as there is redfish in the bay, then you'll have a good strong population again of them. Because the speckled trout fishing just isn't the same like it was 30 years ago. It's not the same. Here's where I catch that 26-inch red I was talking about that swallows the hook, that I can't get it out. I think I cast it out there 2 or 3 times, and I think on the 3rd one it's where he hits it, takes it. Cassie's already tuckered out. It's a hot day, May, it's in the 90s, and we're out there, mid-90s. Gotta go into the console there, get some water, take it easy a little bit in that little bit of shade that we do have on that boat. Cassie's the only one that really gets in the shade there, because she can get up under the console. I can't get up under there. Alright, so I think on this next cast is where I hook this big red right here. And he fights. It's a good fight. He does not want to come in. Peels the line. It's like what you want a redfish to do. There we go. Reel it in the slack, and I'll pop it. Pop it, reel in the slack. Wait a few minutes, reel in the slack, and maybe pop it again, unless he starts to take it, and then I just reel in the slack. There we go, we popped it. Reel in the slack, popped it, reel in the slack. So now on this 3rd cast here, after I hook this big red, beautiful red. There he goes. Boom, got him. And he peels that line. That's how you want it. It's exactly how you want it. Running, peeling the line, and drag, whizzing. And like I said, I think about 3 times he tries to run under the boat, and that's what I love about these inshore extreme poles, because they're 8.5 feet. You can pick him up and keep him out from underneath, going underneath the boat. With that, you got a lot of leverage over him. Whereas if you had like a 6 foot or a 7 foot, you don't have as much leverage. But with these big ones, you can keep him. See, look at this. Look how I keep him, man. Look at that. He's trying, but I'm keeping him. I'm controlling that head, man. My drag set good. Got you barking it up now. Beautiful redfish. But the only sad thing is he swallowed the hook. I use treble hooks when I pop the cork. I don't use circle hooks. 99.9% of the time I set the hook in the corner of the mouth. That's why I pull to the side. If you guys are always wondering why when I pull, I'm pulling to the side, because I want to set the hook in the corner corner, I don't know what you'd say, right side of the mouth. Yeah, I guess that's what that would be, of the fish. But here's an instance where it didn't work out. And the position where it was down his throat, where it'd go into where his I don't know what you call those grinding teeth, where they grind it to go into his stomach. It was all caught up in the center of that. There'd be no way that he'd be able to swallow a fish past that. I mean, I tried to get it out, but I couldn't get it out. I went and, here you see I'm going to go get my long reachers to get down in there, because I can't get it with the regular pliers. So I'm looking for my long reachers. See those? That big long reacher hook removal tool that I have. And like I'm trying to say is, when I pop the cork and fish live shrimp, I use a number 4 treble hook is what I use. And sometimes a 3, but usually I think it's a 4 is what I usually use. And instead of like on a circle hook where you would hook, and this is the reason why I use it out there. Circle hooks, when you hook the shrimp in there and you throw it out, the bait fish, the piggy perch or pin perch, will usually generally eat it off pretty darn fast. But when you use a treble hook and then you hook all 3 hooks into the shrimp, it's a lot harder for them to eat it off, so it can stay in the water longer, and then you can catch a game fish. And normally the flicking, like on a circle hook, the flicking of the shrimp would attract the bait fish because of the movement in the water. I mean the game fish, because of the movement in the water, the vibration in the water. Well, what attracts them for me is that rig, that popping cork rig that I have on top with the weights. When those weights clack together in the water every time I pull on it, that's what mimics a bait fish in frantic fluttering motion, and that's what attracts the game fish. And then it smells the fresh shrimp because it's freshly still alive, and then that's what it hits. It goes off of the smell and that clacking for me, you know. But that's the only reason why I don't use circle hooks for popping corks out there, because the bait gets cleaned off pretty quick. So, but if you use a treble, you can usually get some good runs out of it before it gets cleaned off by the pin perch and stuff that's in the water, because they're always nibbling at it. They're nibbling. They just can't take a big swipe because it's all wrapped around that treble hook. So it stays out there longer, and it gives me a bit better opportunity to catch a game fish with it. And as you can see, it works because I catch them all the time. But that's why I pull to the side. I pull to the side because I try to set the hook in the lower right side, or the top, or the upper right side of the fish's mouth. If you guys are always wondered why I'm not pulling straight up, that's the reason why. And like I say, in very few instances it does happen, like in this instance here. I couldn't get the hook out, so I'll cut the line, and we ended up harvesting that fish, and we ate that fish that night, because I don't want to do that to that fish. I wouldn't, you know, because they say that the hook rusts out. You know, it's a stainless steel hook, yeah, but that fish will be long dead before that hook would rust out of its throat to clear the passage so it could swallow bait fish again to feed on. Because it was right in the center. I mean, just hooked in there right to where nothing can get past it. If it was off to one side and I could see that it could still swallow bait fish, then I would have just cut the line and dropped it back in the water and let it go. But it was dead center in its throat, right at the beginning of its stomach. But anyway, as you guys can see, it's a 26-inch red, beautiful red. Nothing like it. Out there fishing on the lower Laguna Madre. Beautiful fish. Look at this beautiful fish. And it's just a shame I couldn't let it go. I had to keep it. See how it's already bleeding? it's dripping blood everywhere. And the right thing to do is to harvest it. I wouldn't want it to starve out there and just wither away and die suffering. We'll just harvest it and be done with it. Beautiful red, 26-inch red. And I guess this is where it's at. We're going to leave it here. And one of these days, Rusty and me will see you guys out drift fishing the Lower Laguna Madre. Y'all have a good day. Here and there, and now this big one. All right, we'll get back at it.